Hey y'all, hey, it is GalandaB, your neighborhood emotional alchemist, and what I'd like to call a practicing whimsical woman. So this video today, I was like, yeah, I like to be whimsy, but some of that like organized part of me tried to take over. And I was like, I need to make a list so I can stay on track. I made a list, but who knows if I'm gonna stay on track. In any case, this video is going to start out with me talking about how I have tried to be consistent and failed, or rather, the areas that I feel like I am consistent in. And then whatever else comes to mind as I just sit here talking. Anyway, I have had a considerable amount of self criticism around being consistent, like doing the thing, mostly around, internet related things. I am pretty consistent in real life. At least I think I am, right? I'm consistent in how I show up with people. I don't show up all different ways. You get what you get, right? This is it. I'm not going to be different if you see me another day. Now, usually I'm pretty chill, like you see me here. I'm very casual. Not that I can't dress up or anything, but I like to just be chill. Anyway, one of the things that I'm extremely consistent in is in my personal spiritual practices. Now, I am not a practicing Christian, a Buddhist, a Taoist, any of those things. And I'm not even sure that I would say I'm a fully practicing hoodoo practitioner. I would say that I do different practices from different things that work for me. I don't subscribe to any specific spiritual practice, but I do have some morning spiritual practices that I do. And these started out because as I evolved in my awareness, I started to be exposed and be aware of other people's emotions and energies that I was clear wasn't mine. It wasn't my stuff, right? And so I went to a trusted person who, I don't know, subscribe is the correct word, maybe suggested practices that would be good spiritual hygiene, right, for me. And since then, I've been doing those practices. No matter where I am on this earth, I do those practices. It's extremely rare that I don't do these practices before I leave my house. Does it happen that I don't do them? On occasion, sure. I'm human. I'm not a freaking robot, okay? But I'm extremely consistent in my morning spiritual practices. The whole practice only takes like 5 minutes, but I make sure to do it. And I feel like it helps me show up in this world as a better, more consistent person. Initially, the practice started out for me to protect my energy, right? But now it's just kind of a give thanks and a general spiritual practice. So those times when I like self-criticize and beat myself up about, oh, you didn't do this and you say you're going to do this every day, I have to remind myself that I am consistent because I do that consistently. And let's break it down even like on a more practical nature. If you brush your teeth every day, you're consistent, okay? You are consistent. If you wash your hands every time you use the restroom, you are consistent. People don't like to take these simple daily tasks into account, but they count. They make a difference. I make my bed every day. Okay? Again, I'm not a robot. It does happen that I don't make the bed occasionally, but I'm sure it's not even twice a month, most likely. I make my bed every day. So I am consistent, but I just may not be consistent in some of these new practices that I'm trying to bring on. I'm sharing this to say that we often self criticize because we haven't achieved something that we set out to do. There could be a variety of reasons why you are not able to do that at that time. It just might not be the right time for you. Maybe you don't have the right environmental characteristics in order to support you to be consistent in the thing, right? And the other thing that I consider when I'm like thinking about being critical of myself about, oh, you didn't post and get down on myself, is I am a yoga practitioner. I also happen to be what people would consider a yoga teacher, right? Went through the training and all of these sort of things. And one of the yoga philosophies is Ahimsa. And Ahimsa, woo, y'all, this crow that visited the patio, he just flew, okay? I wasn't expecting him. I think he was coming over here to sit because it looks like it's about to rain. And he startled me. So that's what that was. But we're going to keep it going. Back to Ahimsa. Ahimsa is about reducing or not having harm, right? And we often think of harm of physical harm. But harm can also be mental and emotional. And not just towards others, but towards yourself. So I am a big proponent, right, of practicing ahimsa with myself, right? Being careful with my emotions and not being so critical of my emotions with myself, okay? So whenever I'm thinking about this and I'm like, oh, and it's like, don't be so self-critical, that principle of ahimsa, okay? So that's one of the things I am consistent about. Another thing I am consistent about pretty good is hydration, right? Hydration. Y'all want to know something funny though? When I was writing down my list, I wrote down hygiene, even though I was thinking hydration, and I'm going to come back to the hygiene part. But here in Ghana, it's very warm. Some would even say hot. Others would say scorching. I like all of it. It does not bother me, the temperature, okay? But it's important for your physical temple, right? Your body to be hydrated, to be able to function in normal circumstances, but also in cases of extreme heat. So I'm really good about the hydration, right? I'm always drinking water. I try to get coconut water multiple times a week. I don't always leave my house. So that makes it a little bit more difficult for me to get it daily. But usually when I go, I can get some and I can have it for 2 or 3 days. Coconut water is plentiful here, so it's not like it's difficult to get. But even outside of coconut water, I will drink just regular water. And sometimes I will cut up the inside of the coconut and freeze it and use it like little ice cubes in my water. It's super cute. You know what? Wait a minute. See? Can you see? I even got some here. This is coconut water, but you can see the little pieces of coconut I cut up that were frozen that I put in my water. So I'm consistent about hydration. I make sure that my intake of water is high because dehydration can cause cramps. It can cause headaches. It can cause stomach problems. And I don't want none of that. Never mind the fact you can't have like lovely, supple, beautiful skin if you're not hydrated. Okay. Now let's circle back to the hygiene part. You know, I don't think I've ever spoken about this publicly on the internet, but it is amazing and incredulous to me the amount of people who speak about their lack of cleanliness on the internet. Like, I don't want to say I'm fascinated because I'm not fascinated, but I just can't believe that people will be on the internet talking about I'm not clean, right? And so even when I don't leave my house, I'm taking a shower 1 to 2 times a day, okay? I absolutely take a shower every evening because I'm not getting in my bed dirty. Okay. And oftentimes in the morning as well. And I just love the lather on my body. Like, you know, we use African net sponges for the most part here. And I just love the lather on my body. Like people talk about, oh, they just let the water run down to their feet. I love to put my fingers through my toes and underneath my feet to make sure that there's no dirt there. Like, I just don't even understand that. I'm bringing this up about consistency because if you are bathing regularly, you are consistent. Yes, you are absolutely consistent if you are bathing regularly. So if you're like, oh, I didn't do, sometimes we have to look at what we are doing well to help motivate us in another area. So if you're bathing consistently, there you go. Okay. Also, you know, on these interwebs, these people who are talking about cleanliness, you know, they're not of the same hue. They're more like this what we would call this hue. And here I encounter myself personally. I can't say for anybody else where I live. I rarely encounter people with a foul odor or what I would consider a foul odor. And when I say rarely, I mean less than twice a week. Whereas in the U.S., when I lived downtown Baltimore, Maryland, listen, anytime I left my house, what's this? Anytime I left my house, somebody was funky. Okay? Here, it's not like that. Like, I see people washing their feet all the time. I see people washing their clothes. Like, I think innately something about maybe because you're sweaty, you know, you want to wash up. I don't know. But folks, I don't know what you might have seen in other parts of the world where you live. But here in Ghana, where I live, the vast majority of people are extremely clean. And I like it. Also, there's a large Muslim population here, meaning people who follow Islam. And cleanliness is extremely important as part of those religious practices. Very clean. Now, don't get onto my post. Don't get under this video, please. Talking about, well, when I was there and these people was funky and they was dirty and they didn't wash. There are exceptions. I'm talking about my experience, okay? This is my experience. This is not everybody's experience. My experience is mostly of cleanliness, okay? And I think the last thing that I want to talk about for this video is time, right? You say, well, how does time have to do with consistency? Because consistency is doing something repeatedly over a period of time, right? Time here does not function the same way, or let me rephrase that. Let me back it up. I do not experience time here the same way that I experienced time when I was in the U.S. It's very difficult to explain. It does not move at the same pace all the time. Even in the course of a day, right? Like during the day, there's a certain pace. Once the sun goes down, there's a certain pace. If it's a holiday time, there's a certain pace. Like time just really functions differently here. And in the US, where I might say, okay, I have my, my handy dandy list. I'm going to get these 5 things done on my errands today. Here in Ghana, I do not do that. Okay. I pick one major thing to do when I go out on errands. And then I pick maybe 2 or 3 secondary things that I might like to achieve if the major thing gets done. If I get my major thing done, it's a win. It's a plus. I've achieved my goal for the day. If I don't get my major thing done and I get maybe one of my secondary things done, it's still a win. I've accomplished some things for today. I do not set out to get multiple things done in Ghana. on the same day. It's just really not practical. And if you are living here, like that's something that I would suggest. Now, if you're coming from vacation, you absolutely can do multiple things in one day. Like you're not going to waste your time here. I'm not saying that. Vacation is different than living. Living here, I just don't plan for more than one thing in a day. So I am going to wrap this video up because I can see in the background like dark clouds. It's rainy season currently. So I can see super dark clouds. The birds are kind of like circling. And like I said, my little neighborhood crow guy that comes here with his girlfriend, he didn't pass by here 2 times. Basically, I think he's saying, move, get out the way, because he want to sit over here before the rain comes. So I'm going to wrap this up. And yeah, topic, consistency. And don't beat yourself up about it. Okay, until next time, let me give y'all a little view of what I see here so you can see why I need to take my hind parts in the house. Look at that, y'all. It was clear, bright blue a few moments ago, but it then got dark. So guess who's moving in the house? This girl.